Thank you very much. Whiskey 5 Oscar Golf. We'll be starting the Air Force's Flyers Club net in about 6 minutes, top of the hour here.
W6WAY, standing by for the Flyers net.
W6WAY, I hear you in there, Jim, but not real strong. I've got the antenna the other way because of the noise, the line noise there at home. But do have you, and we got you on the list. W6WAY, W5OG.
Okay, thanks, Dale.
W5OG, do not change your antenna position. WW5ENZ, I got you loud and clear local.
Okay, Mike. Thanks for doing that logger. I see you've got it up and going, so that's great. W5OG, and Bob is going to bring in Don. I see he's on there now. And Tony was on the Echo link there also, GW0UIM. So it looks like we've got a pretty good group gathered so far. W5OG be starting the net here in about 5 minutes.
Okay, W5ABI. Yeah, you too here. So far, I've heard you really good, even when you talked before. WW5ENZ.
W5ABI, standing by for net.
WW5ENZ, WA6LJS.
W5ENZ here.
Yeah, good morning, Mike. You're good 10 over 9. Good signal, and Dale was real solid, and Joe was about an S8, so we're copying everybody. That was a nice, courteous guy that agreed to let us have the frequency. Thanks for doing that, Dale. And I'll kind of ride herd. I won't be too active on that logger, but in case you miss something, I'll pick it up for you, Mike. WA6LJS.
Roger that, John. Appreciate it.
Mike, WW5ENZ, W4PUO.
Whoa, W4PUO. You're sounding great today. WW5ENZ.
Also, I got a 555 on you, Mike. Very good. Thank you. W4PUO standing by.
KJ5BWB, standing by for the net.
KJ5BWB, WW5ENZ. Yeah, Willie, we got you down there. You're on line 11.
Yes, sir, I see that. I was just wanting to make sure I was making the SDR. I appreciate it. We'll see you all in a little bit. KJ5BWB, standing by.
Roger that. I got a 9, about a 5.5 on you here. Usually I can't hear you, so the conditions seem pretty good today. WW5ENZ.
I don't have you, but I do have you very well on Utah number 4. So you're hitting the SDR pretty hard.
This is Whiskey 5 Oscar Golf, net control for the Air Force's Flyers Club net, which will begin in about 3 minutes on this frequency.
Good signal, Dale. W5OG, W5ABI.
Yeah, you too, Joe. You're off the back, but you're a good 5 and 7 anyway. W5OG.
W5ABI, standing by for net.
you're 5 and 7 with me, Tom. Perfectly readable though. WA4 or K4YES W5OG. We got you on the list, Tom. All right, no problem.
W5OG, K1BOB, we do have Don. He'll be with us this morning. I'll bring him in. K1BOB.
Yeah, okay, fine, Bob. Appreciate it. Thank you. And yeah, I saw him on there, and I knew you were going to get it. So appreciate that very much. W5OG. Okay, it's 10 o'clock local time here in the center part of the country. Time to start the Air Force's Flyers Club Net. This is Whiskey 5 Oscar Golf. My name is Dale, Delta Alpha Lima Echo, and my station is located in East Texas, about 100 miles east of Dallas out in the country. I'm operating remote from Branson, Missouri currently. I'm located here at a nice RV resort and enjoying what all Branson has to offer. This net meets on this frequency and at this time daily. Members of our group are active duty, retired, and veterans of the military air forces from all branches. And we include air crew, ground crew, air traffic controllers, support personnel, missileers, pretty much anyone involved with supporting the aviation mission from all of our armed forces. We also very much like to welcome visitors to join us on the net. You don't have to have any military experience or experience with aviation in order to check into the net. The purpose of our group is to promote fellowship between those of us we radio amateurs who devoted a portion of our lives supporting the missions of our air forces. And this is a control net, contact net control. We prefer that you use the words contact, relay info, or check-in, normal net procedures. We do have a website. You can find out all about the Air Forces Flyers Club. The URL is airforcesflyersclub.org. I say again, airforcesflyersclub.org. We're using NetLogger for the list that will go down here just shortly, and I'll give the list, and then after that we'll take over the air check-ins. We also back up our HF with a Echolink. We have a conference node on Echolink. It's Alpha Foxtrot Foxtrot Charlie under the conference tab of Echolink. You can find us there. Those of you that would like to also listen in on. Sometimes we'll relay folks in, and Don K0ZNC will come in over Echolink this morning. All right, so far on the list this morning I have the following stations. I have Don K0ZNC. Good morning to you, Don, if you're hearing me on one of the SDRs. We see Joe W5ABI, and our commander Bob K1BOB. He'll be bringing in simulcasting in Don. Thank you, Bob. Got the ops officer, KF7GJO this morning. Good morning, Carl. Hope you're hearing me. I've got John, WA6LJS. He and WW5ENZ, who's next on the list, are doing the net logging, and I do appreciate that from both of you gentlemen. Thank you for that. That really helps. Also, I've got John, W7AJN. I've got Lee, my neighbor just to the west there in Arlington, Texas, and November 5 Bravo Echo. Morning to you there, Lee. Got Captain Bill, W2WLD up in New York. Got Willie, KJ5BWB. I heard you on the SDR this morning, Willie. I heard Jim, W6WAY, although a little bit on the weak side, but I've got the antenna out to the east. So you see Charlie's in there, K4YDB, and for those of you that would like to watch the net in progress, you can do that on Charlie's live stream. He has a live stream of the Air Force's Flyers Club each morning. It's you can get it on YouTube there. You just go to YouTube and type in K4YDB or look for the and then select live stream. And he also, I think, has the question up, the question of the day there. So you don't have to write anything down. You can just read it right off of YouTube there. Also, we've got Tom, K4YES, and I've got Lee, W4PUO, who I'm sure is not listening or not hearing me this morning. But if you are, good morning to you, Lee. Sorry you're not listening to one of the SDRs. You can hear me there, I'm sure. And I've got James, KG5PTE. I know W5PIX was on there earlier this morning. He was on Echolink. I don't see him in here yet. Maybe he'll show up for the net. All right, that's the list that I have so far. Let me go ahead and take over-the-air check-ins. Anyone that would like to join us that's not on the list so far, go ahead and call in now, W5OG. Kilo 4, is that Delta Victor Kilo? Do I have that correct? Okay, Delta Bravo Kilo, I stand corrected. Give us your name and QTH there, over.
Yeah, name is Dennis, QTH is Reston, Virginia, about 15 miles west of D.C. Running barefoot on one of my old favorites, the Tentec Omni 6 Plus. So, anyway, I have a really nice copy on you. You're definitely a 5'9" here on my inverted L, over.
All right, Dennis, you are going to stay with us for the net, or are you just wanting a signal report there, over?
I will stick around for the net.
All right, mighty fine. Well, we've got you on the list there. Well, not exactly just yet, but you'll be on there shortly. It's Kilo 4 Delta Bravo Kilo, Dennis in Ruston, Virginia. Welcome to you. Any other check-ins? Call now, W5OG. November 9, Delta, is that right? Stockbridge, Georgia. I'm not familiar with that, Mike, but we've got you with a good signal there. November 9, Delta. Are you familiar with the Air Force's Flyers Club, Dennis, or Mike, over? All right, mighty fine. Glad to have you join us this morning. Well, stick around. You may find that you enjoy it. I don't know. Anyway, let's go to the West Coast. WA6LJS. John, put a call out for additional check-ins from your location, if you would. W5OG.
Wilco, this is WA6LJS relay for net control for the Air Force Flyers Thursday morning net. We're looking for check-ins, either members or visitors. Call now. All's quiet on the West Coast. Back to you, Dale.
Okay, thank you, John. And how about Bill, W2WLD? Put a call out from New York, and we'll have both coasts covered there, Bill. Over.
W2WLD, upstate New York. Relaying for net control for the Air Force's Flyers Club net. We're taking check-ins. Members or guests, please call now. Quiet out here, Dale.
Yeah, I'm monitoring the SDR and didn't hear a peep there. Fine, Bill, thank you. All right, from the assembled list that we've got going so far, anyone need to be a short timer? Other than Don, we've got K0ZNC at the top of the list. Anybody else need to be a short timer? Call now, W5OG. Well, hearing none, I guess we're in for the duration. All right, let me get the question of the day. I made it nice and simple today. We were talking the other day about commercial airliners and the glide ratio and all sorts of things concerning the differences in the wing loading and all those kinds of things. And it got me thinking about the old Gimli glider incident. Most of you are familiar with this, but I'll give the quick rundown on it. It was Air Canada Flight 143 on July the 23rd, 1983, due to a combination of factors. More than one screw-up, that is what that translates into. Significant screw-ups, I might add, as you might imagine. Well, anyway, Air Canada's Flight 143, a relatively new Boeing 767, on a flight from Montreal to Edmonton, ran out of fuel, if you can imagine that, about halfway to destination. The flight initially had lost one engine at flight level 410, and subsequently lost the remaining engine at about 28,000 feet. The crew thought that they could glide to Winnipeg as a suitable alternative, but ultimately realized that that would not be possible and headed for Gimli, a closed Canadian Air Force base. My question today is approximately how far did Flight 143 glide? How far did it glide? And the answers are A, 35 miles, B, 45 miles, C, 55 miles, or D, 65 miles. Pretty simple. 35, 45, 55, or 65. And for added aggravation, I've got a second question. With dual engine failure, where does the Boeing 767 get emergency hydraulic and electrical power? Which do you think is the best source for emergency electrical and hydraulic power for the Boeing 767 with no engines running? Would it be A, the APU? A is the APU, or B, the battery, or C, the RAT, the RAT, which is, of course, ram air turbine, or D, windmilling engines. Which do you think is the best answer from those that I've given? A, the APU, B, the battery, C, the RAT, and D, windmilling engines. All right, that's the question of the day. Let's go ahead and go to Don, K0ZNC. If you'd bring in Don this morning there, Bob, K1BOB, go ahead, W5OG.
Wilco Dale, K1BOB, and Don, go ahead, you're up. Good morning again. K1BOB, back to net.
Okay, very fine, Don, and got your answers there. Alpha, you didn't really hear the second question. So, yeah, the second question was, where does the 767 get its emergency power? And I had 4 answers there. I don't have it pulled up, so I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, that's the answer. That's the question. And you came in good on, but much better on Echolink for me. I'm not getting you really well over the HF, Bob, unfortunately. Of course, I got the antenna out to the east. All right, let's go to Joe in Las Cruces, W5ABI. Go ahead, Joe, you're up, W5OG.
Yeah, W5OG and the Flyers, W5ABI. Good morning, Dale. Kind of an overcast, cloudy morning here in Las Cruces. We're expecting some rain, hopefully. I hope so. 6 months ago we got some. Anyhow, that's the desert. Thanks for running the net. You know, I'm going to be, I'm taking a wild guess on this. I'm going to go Charlie on the first one and Alpha on the second. So I'm not sure. We're going to be one and done. We got a doctor's appointment coming up here shortly. We'll listen in for the answer. And if we happen to be here on the 73 round, give me a shout. And if I'm here, I'll give a 73. So back to you, W5OG, W5ABI.
Okay, Joe, mighty fine. You think, let's see, they had Charlie 55 miles and that they would just start the APU. Answer A for the second question. All right. Let's go to Bob, K1BOB. Good morning again, Bob, and you're up, W5OG.
K1BOB, yeah, Dale, you're only about a 4 or 5 this morning. I guess aimed away from me, it makes a huge difference. ABI, Joe, you're plus 20 on ABI. I hear Mike real well. I'm hearing John out west, a little low too, though. Anyway, well, yeah, I remember this one, and I remember reading about it at one time. And, yeah, fuel starvation because of the metric to SAE conversion, and the gauges can do both, I guess, something like that. So they ran out. They should have known that, you know. So they got reprimanded afterwards. I'm not sure what happened, but it wasn't very good for either of them. However, they were heroes getting that jet down and not hurting anybody. On an airfield that was actually, it was a closed airfield, which one of the pilots had been a military member in the Canadian Royal Air Force. He knew it was there, but he didn't know whether it was open or closed, and, well, it was closed. They were doing a road race on it, but they managed to get everybody out in time somehow. Somebody saw the aircraft coming or whatever, and all the crowd got off of the runway so that 767 could land. How far did it glide? I don't know. I'm going to go on a high figure. I think it wasn't quite up to cruising altitude. But it might have been below 30,000. But I think it could have gone pretty far. I think the 767 has one of the better glide ratios. I don't know what it is. I'm going to go with Delta on the first one. I'm going 65. It might have been. I thought it was more. So I'm just going to go with the high one because I think it's up in that range. The second answer, well, yeah, the APU gives you power. I don't know if it gives hydraulics. The F-16 APU gives hydraulics and power, so they can fly their electric jet to the ground without an engine. They only have one engine. But I think the most important one, and windmilling engines, I'm not sure how well they do providing enough hydraulics to run the controls. I'm going to go with the Rat. A turbine, a ram turbine. So I think it's the Rat they have. They can deploy, and it provides hydraulics. I don't know if it provides electric, though. Maybe they could do the APU and the Rat. So I think the Rat is the most important. That's when it's going to get you on the ground. You may not have instruments, which is pretty important, though. So, and the battery might cover the instruments for a short time. So I'm going with Charlie. Charlie out on the second one, Dale, and back to you. K1BOB. Good morning, everybody.
All righty, Bob. Mighty fine. Got your answers there. Yeah, appreciate that. You think it was more than 65 miles, and see the rat. All right. Let's move along. Go to Carl, KF7GJO in Sparks, Nevada. Good morning, Carl. You're up, W5OG.
Roger that, Dale. Good morning, everybody. Well, interesting band conditions this morning, propagation. Dale, you are booming in here in S9. When Bob came in, it sounded like he was parked outside of the curb. Believe it or not, Bob, you were running 10 over 9. And you were running 10 over 9, and when you sent it back to Dale, nothing on the radio. I had to pick him up over Utah SDR. So talk about a momentary short skip on the propagation. We definitely got it this morning. Interesting question. And I'm looking over the list, but I don't see Jack on it right offhand, which is a good thing because he was a 767 captain for Delta, and he would cheat on this question. Okay, like Bob mentioned, the 767 was one of the cleaner airplanes and had one of the higher glide speeds for a commercial airplane, and I believe they were at 28,000 when they lost the second engine on this thing. Consider one thing though, as far as airspeed goes, is speed over the ground. So even though they're coming out of the sky like a cinder block, they're moving across the ground at a rapid pace. And I'm looking at either 55 or 65 miles, but I remember that event when that happened, because I was interested in racing, and it was one of the things that came up and said they were having some amateur races on this abandoned airfield, and all of a sudden a big airliner shows up and wants to play. Anyway, long story short, I'm going with D Delta, 65 miles for question 1, and I had to chuckle with question 2 when I read answer A, the APU. I'll bet that APU puts out a lot of power with no fuel to drive it. Batteries, no. That airplane sucks a lot of juice. I don't think that the batteries would last any time at all. Windmilling engines, even if they weren't seized, but windmilling from the air passing through them, I doubt that they would generate enough velocity. They definitely would generate a lot of drag, but I don't think they would generate enough velocity for developing any hydraulic power. So I've got to go with T. Charles, the RAT, the Ram Air Turbine, to provide both hydraulic and emergency electrical power. And I'm not sure how it works on the 76. I know Airbus has some models of Airbus actually have a propeller driven generator that extends below the bottom of the fuselage for the emergency power. So Delta and Charlie are my answers. Great net this morning, buddy, and I'll send it back to you. And I may get interrupted, so if you call me on the 73 round and I don't answer, you know that I had a higher priority interrupt. So back to you, Dale. 75OG is KF7. D. Dale.
Okay, Carl, I can't imagine a higher priority than Arnett, but anyway, we hope you'll be there. All right, mighty fine. Got your answers, Delta and Charlie. Let's go to John, WA6LJS. Thanks for the help with the net logger there, John, W5OG.
Thanks, Dale. 5OG, this is WA6LJS, buddy. This morning, over 9, and I was even hearing Sparky. At least I heard him there. Boy, I got a problem with this push-to-talk switch here. It's It's cutting out on me. I broke up for a minute there. I think I'm okay now. Let's see. It's currently 66 degrees here, and we have clear blue sky, a couple wispy clouds, but plenty of sun, so it's going to be probably another warm day again today. And in answer to the question, I'm going to go copy the start of the lemming line. I'm going to say Delta, was it 65 miles, and Rat, Charlie. So put me down for D and C. And I'll be here to the bottom, and you can let me know if I did cut out at the first there, because it looked like I saw the meters going through here. This is WA6LJS, back to net.
Okay, yeah, you were, John. No question. It was, you were breaking up just a bit there, and it looked like maybe a push-to-talk problem because you were just dropping out. I thought maybe you were on Echo Link or something. All right, but you have a very good signal with me. You're a good 5.9 off the back of the antenna. Let's go to Chief Mike, and you're the chief net logger this morning, and thank you for starting it up and doing the net logging there, Mike. We do appreciate that. WW5ENZ, W5OG.
Good morning, everybody. Let's see, I just finished trimming the yard, my gosh, just before the net, and then I came in here and turned on net order, but I got, grass all over me, but whatever. Anyway, no sugar bites today, though. I sprayed down before I did that. Let's see, we're about almost 80 right now, so we're probably going to be, I don't know, we got some kind of heat warning maybe later, but I don't know. Yesterday we had that, and we barely got over 90. So who knows? But anyway, I was going to say, everybody's sounding pretty good today. And as far as the question goes, interesting. I don't know. I was thinking not to be a lemming, so I was going to say Charlie and Charlie. So CC is going to, just throwing it. I can't figure out how far that distance is, but anyway, who knows? So it's kind of a dart. But anyway, you're sounding great here, Dale, locally. That's not usually, that doesn't usually happen, so all good. Anyway, I'll turn it back to you, W5OG, WW5ENZ.
Yeah, fine, Mike. Yeah, it's a bit unusual. We're too close to be able to hear you on 20 meters, but yet I'm doing it. I'm hearing you, actually. And I know that because I've got the SDR in one ear and the radio in the other ear, and I can hear you in both ears. So, all right, mighty fine. Got your answer, Charlie. Let's go to John, W7AJN. Good morning, John. You're up, W5OG.
W5OG, W7AJN. Good morning, Dale, and good morning to all the flyers out there. It's a beautiful day here. Peoria has 92 degrees, and it's going up to 107 today. So, feel thirsty in today. I'm doing no such as one and done, because I've got to go look at a new car. I got an appointment at 10:45. That's a couple hours from now. So I'm going to make it a one and done anyway. Get ready. Let's see, on the question, I remembered that Canadian aircraft landed on an old former airstrip that was being used as a racetrack. I remember reading about that. I don't remember whether it was at the time just after the time it happened or sometime later, but I remember reading about it, and I'm going to say for sure it was at least 65 miles that the aircraft glided, and the ram air turbine was what's keeping it going, keeping it flying. So my answer is Delta and Charlie. And it's just a one and done. So 7-3 to all the flyers out there. Make it a wonderful day. You're in charge of it. W7AJN.
All right, John. You got Delta and Charlie. Seems to be a lemming line started here for sure. All right, let's go to Leon. N5 Bravo Echo. Good morning, Lee. You're up. W5OG.
Oh, there we go. Now I'm putting out some power. All right. I was whispering into the mic. That don't work. Good morning, Dale. Good morning, everyone on the net. I remember when this happened. I don't remember the length of the slide. I had no clue. Someone I'm running out of that one. And I'll go with the rat. But before, so I'll go Delta Charlie, but I got a little story, of course I do. If you ever seen the movie Dunkirk, the latest one, there is a best, unbelievably fantastic energy management scenario that I've ever seen in a single engine aircraft. This Spitfire gets his engine shot out. He manages to maneuver and shoot down an ME-109, does a bit of an air show over the beach, and safely pancakes onto the soft sand. Now that's some really good energy management. When I saw that, luckily it was at the end of the movie, I turned to my wife and I said, boy, am I glad I didn't spend any money at the theater to look at this thing. Oh my God. Anyway, I'm going with Delta Charlie, and thanks for doing that, Dale. By the way, Mike up in Oklahoma, you were 5'9" on me. That's never happened. All right, W5OG N5.
Yeah, we must have a tunnel up to Oklahoma City there, Lee, because I don't hear you locally, but I can hear Mike in Oklahoma City for well. You know, he's an S9 there, or at least he was. I don't know if he still is or not. That's you know, pretty variable there for that short a distance. All right, let's go to Bill. W2WLD. Good morning again, Bill. You're up. W5OG.
Okay, good morning, Dale. Good morning, all. Propagation a lot better today. Sunny and 78, going to be a nice day. We're heading out to the lake house. After the net, in fact, I'm going to make it a one and done, please, Dale. As far as the question, I don't remember this incident, and I certainly don't know the details. I did some quick math. 28,000 feet of altitude with a glide ratio of 12 to 1, and I came up with a maximum glide of 63 miles, which doesn't quite get you to Delta unless they had something else going on. So I'm going to go with Charlie, 55 miles. And yeah, I've never flown an aircraft with a rat, but it's got to be a rat. So Charlie, please, Dale. W5OG, W2, WLD, 73.
Yeah, okay, fine, Bill, Charlie, and Charlie. Never flown an airplane with a rat. All right, that you know of. Okay, 7-3, Bill. Have a great time up at the cabin. And also, I didn't say goodbye to John. He's one and done there also. If you're still listening, John, have a great day there. Good luck with buying a new car. I meant to say that before and neglected to do it there. All right, we got your answer, Bill, and let's go to Willie at KJ5BWB in Belton. Go ahead, Willie, you're up. W5OG.
This is a quick question, so there's a little technology here. I'm going to say, I don't know, a little bit of Google and what I hear it makes sense. So I think that was Charlie. And then for the second one, I'm going to also say 55. I think that was also Charlie. You definitely want to pitch for glide if you're something like that. So that's Delta was my first love. So sure you make it to the field. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, good morning, Willie. Did you say you're one and done? Are you going to stick around for the 73 round there, Willie? Over. Yeah. Okay. Mighty fine. Okay, got your answers there. Let's go to Jim. W6WAY. You didn't have a rat on the DC8, I don't believe there. Jim, go ahead. W5OG.
Let's see. I'm hearing myself on the SDR, so at least I get down to Utah. Anyways, it's 70 degrees here and clear skies. It's supposed to get up to 92 today. A beautiful day again. My answers to the questions are C and C. Charlie and Charlie. W6WAY.
Okay, Jim got Charlie. Charlie is your answer there. Not coming in real good, but I do have the antenna the other direction. I'm sure if I were to point it west, I'd be able to hear you with no problem. Anyway, glad that you're in there this morning. Let's go to Charlie, K4YDB. Thanks for doing this live stream there, Charlie. You're up, W5OG.
W5OG, K4YDB. Well, thanks for that, Dale. Thanks for running the net today. I hope everybody's having a good morning. Right now, it's currently 79 degrees here. Only supposed to get up in the high 80s today, no 90s, because we have rain in the area. Right now, we picked up about a quarter of an inch last night as we slept, but no thunderstorms to worry about, so I didn't hear anything. So my dog didn't wake me up either. So. But yesterday went to the doctor and we did everything. I was in and out of there in about 15, 20 minutes. It normally doesn't take very long because he's there. That's the best time to go in there is right after lunch, and that's what I did. But anywho, I'm on for another 4 more months, and then I start over again. I had the stream up. I did shut the stream down right there. I know you guys. It looks like you guys shut it down before noon. I saw that NetLogger was closed down, so that's when I shut everything down, and I hope it went okay. I'm going to turn it on here in a little bit and see what happened to it. Anyway, as far as the question goes, well, I just saw this just a couple of weeks ago on air disasters about this airplane, about them running out of fuel. I can't remember the exact numbers because I wasn't paying that much attention to it because I have seen it before. So I wasn't really looking at it that closely. But I didn't think it was 65 miles. I thought it was a little bit shorter than that. So I'm going to go with Charlie. Put me down for Charlie. Charlie, put me down because I have no idea what. I've never heard of rats on a plane, and I've heard of snakes on a plane, but never rats on a plane. Anyway, W5OG, K4YDB, I'm back to net.
Okay. All right, Charlie, I had to grab a handful of volume there, volume control. You're so strong with me here locally. I got the antenna right toward you, and you're booming there at home. All right, Charlie for Charlie. We got that. Let's move along to Tom, K4YES. You're up, Tom, W5OG. right, Tom. Solid copy there with me. No problem with your signal for sure. And your comments, if we got your answers there, all okay. Let's go to Lee. I'm sure he's not hearing me this morning, unfortunately, and he doesn't do the SDR. So, John, if you'd bring in WA6LJS, if you'd bring in Lee, W4PUO. You're up, Lee, W5OG.
Yeah, W4PUO, you're up, Lee, WA6LJS relay.
WA6LJS relay, W4PUO. Dale, I'm reading you on the SDR Utah number 2. Occasionally, I having trouble with volume cutting out on me. So I did not get the question, but I think there's hope for me. And I'll try to get that sorted out before the next net. We have a beautiful, clear, very few puffy clouds here in south central Texas, and looks like it's going to be a very nice day, though quite hot as it has been, and we're enjoying the local conditions here, which have let up quite a bit. We had stormy weather for a few weeks off and on over the last May and June, but now we're okay. Still doing a little cleanup here. Well, I'm not going to keep it, and I'm going to be one and done because of my poor connections here. But thank you for doing the net, Dale, up there in Mineola. I was also hearing Mike, Oklahoma, pretty good today without the SDR, which is unusual. So, and thank you for the relay, John. WA6LJS, W4PUO.
Okay, Lee, real good, W4PUO. Yeah, you're coming in pretty good here, good S9, but the doggone Chinese radar or whatever it is wipes me totally out. There goes that darn push-to-talk switch again. I think you heard him, Dale, because he was coming in 2 SDRs pretty good. Back to net.
Yeah, I heard him fine. Solid copy. He's an S7 on that Utah SDR, and that's about where I am. I'm surprised that I'm only an S7.
Yourself?
You know, in somebody says QSL. I don't know if you're hearing us or not. Anyway, all okay there, Lee, and I am, very proud of you there. You're listening on the SDR. That's great. We're making progress, and you'll find that the SDRs are a wonderful tool to be able to hear the stations here in the Midwest that are too close to hear on 20 meters. It makes the net really work versus having always to do relays. Anyway, thanks, Lee, and 7-3 to you. I know you're going to be one and done, so appreciate your checking in. Let's go to James, KG5PTE, who I never could hear without the SDR. But with the SDR, you are always in pretty good shape there, James. So go ahead, W5OG.
All right, W5OG in the group, KG5PT. Dale, thanks for running the net. I'm going to go with the C for the Ram Air Turbine, and I'm going to go 65 miles. I'm trying to look at the screen here. I can't remember this number correlation, but Ram Air Turbine for the bonus question. And 65 miles is how far it glided. I think that was, I don't remember. Let me look at my text I sent Willie. We were chatting back and forth. So put me down for answers Delta and Charlie. That's right, Delta and Charlie. Anyway, everybody's coming in good here on the SDR and locally. Unfortunately, we got the Chinese over the horizon radar out there messing with us again. And I sure hope Bob, K2SJP, made it to Gatwick, okay? And hopefully he'll get a SIM card in his phone and he can be able to check in on our net using remote. That would be interesting to find out if that works. Anyway, Dale, thanks for all the help with the Flex radio. I did get the FR stack working, and that is a pretty cool feature to be able to use the watt meter on FR stack. I'll have to show you how to use that sometimes, but it's a really cool tool. So anyway, that's all I got, and I'll turn it back to you, and I'll be here for the 73 rounds. W5OG in the group, KG5PT, good morning to all the flyers.
All right, James, mighty fine. And yeah, that FR Stack is a great program. The software-defined radios, especially Flex radios, I think, because of their unique software, the approach toward things, they give you a lot of capability that otherwise you wouldn't have with a normal radio. And FR Stack, that third-party software program that is just a real aid, to operating for sure. Let's see. Let's go to first visitor here. I probably should have brought some of these visitors in earlier, and I apologize for that, but we'll see who stuck with us. They're K4 Delta Bravo Kilo. Dennis, if you're still there from Reston, Virginia, what do you have for our net this morning? Go ahead, W5OG. Okay, I don't hear Dennis. Let's try Michael. November 9 Delta Delta. Let's see. Yeah, Mike, are you there? Still there from Georgia? Mike, go ahead. W5OG. Now, I know not to let those visitors slip through the cracks, but I neglected to bring them in, and I apologize for that. My error. All right, let's go to Brian, my younger brother there in San Antonio. I know I'll be able to hear you on the SDR, Brian. Good morning to you, and love to Susie there. Hope everything is well. WB5DRI, W5OG.
Yeah, W5OG in the net. This is WB5DRI down here in San Antonio. Well, good morning, Dale, and good morning to Carolyn as well there. Love to you guys, and good morning to the entire net here. Good to be back on here today. I'm between doctor's appointments for my wife. We had one earlier this morning, and I just got back from that a little while ago, and have to leave in a little while to go to another one this afternoon. So anyway, good to be on here. It's hot down here in San Antonio. I think, Dale, I think our low was about 79, and we're already up in the mid-80s, and we're going up to just below the century mark today, 99 degrees for the high. So that's the story on the weather. Great question there. Great questions, Dale. I remember seeing the video on that, and it was definitely the Ram air turbine, the rat, that saved the day for everybody. I don't remember exactly how far the aircraft glided, but it was a long way. It's either Delta or Charlie, 55 or 65. I think I'm just going to Charlie out and see how that comes out, Dale. Charlie for me. But thanks for getting us in there this morning, and hope you guys are having a good time there on your trip. I'm sure you are, and hope you have a good drive tomorrow, continuing up there, I think, on to, to Kansas City to start there, and then on to Rapid City eventually. So anyway, I'll stick around to the bottom here. But back to you, Dale. W5OG, WB5DRI, back to net. Good morning, everybody.
Okay, Brian, mighty fine. Yeah, we are planning on breaking camp here, so to speak, and driving up to Kansas City tomorrow. We'll spend Friday night there and then head on up to Mitchell, South Dakota. At least that's the plan, and then on to Rapid City on Sunday. So we'll be at our destination there. We'll spend the rest of the summer there, or at least the next 6 weeks there. I don't think we're going to do the up until September bit like we've done in the past, but we'll probably come back while there's still some heat. We have to remind ourselves just what we're what we're avoiding, I guess. All right, mighty fine, Brian, and good to talk to you as always, and love to Susie there. And I'll say hello to Chris, KS5KY, Bowling Green. He's listening only. And I think that Ross is in there again. He was here yesterday, I believe. Good morning to you, Ross. You're up. K8 Bravo Papa Zulu. in Killeen there. You're up, W5OG. K8BPZ, are you there, Ross?
K8BPZ, Ross, you're up, WA6LJS. He says on the AIM window he's not hearing anything, Dale.
Oh, okay. I see that James told him that listen up on the SDRs. All right. Well, sorry, Ross. We'll leave you on there. Maybe you get things sorted out. You can hear us on the 73 round. All right. That's the bottom of the list, unless I missed anybody. Quick check to see if did I miss anybody on the initial trip through the list. W5OG call now. Okay. Don't hear anybody. Let me go ahead and address the question here this morning, and yeah, most of you got the answers all okay. Actually, the glide distance, according to the AOPA article that I read, it said that they actually glided 45 miles from the time that they lost their second engine. They couldn't make the 65 miles needed to go all the way to Winnipeg, which was their intention initially. Again, let me just go through the question. On July the 23rd, 1983, due to a combination of factors, Air Canada's Flight 143, a relatively new Boeing 767, flight from Montreal to Edmonton, ran out of fuel about halfway. Flight initially lost one engine at flight level 410. Subsequently, the remaining engine failed at about 28,000 feet. The crew thought that they could glide to Winnipeg, but ultimately realized that would not be possible and headed for Gimli, a closed Canadian Air Force base. And many of you are familiar with the story there. And yes, the closed field was being used as for it was on a weekend, as I recall, and they were conducting car races. They were doing the racing of cars, and it was a family event. There were kids out there on the airfield, and of course, a gliding airplane does not make much noise, so they didn't get a whole lot of early notification, and there were still some kids on the in front of the airplane by the time it finally stopped. No one was injured as a result of that, though, fortunately. But it was filled with folks from the area there that used that closed field for different events. And just a couple of quick comments. How far did it glide? Well, the answers I had were a bit misleading, but the answer actually was 45 miles, according to that AOPA article. And that was B answer Bravo. Nobody picked that one. It would have certainly been able to have glided 65 miles from the time that they first lost the engine. Now, it was traveling, at, 8 miles a minute, something like that, probably westbound there, and so it was covering a lot of territory from the time it first lost the first engine. So we really don't know, but it had the capability, if you use the mathematical computation of gliding the 65 miles. Yeah, they headed for Winnipeg initially and planned on that. Now they only glided 45 miles, but they had excess altitude. He determined that he couldn't land the airplane without slipping it, and it just so happened that this captain was a former sailplane pilot. He had a lighter than air license and knew how to slip the airplane. Of course, if you've flown a Cessna, you know how to do that. You just cross the controls, and it's been uncomfortable for all the passengers, but it does drop it down like a rock. He lost the necessary altitude and on final there, and landed it correctly. Now, that ram air turbine does provide for the emergency hydraulic power and electrical power to run the instruments the remaining emergency instruments. You lose all of the magic on that airplane. And being rated on the 7.6, I can tell you that that's one of the things you do in the simulator, is you have to show competency in using the emergency instruments to land the aircraft with just an attitude indicator and the compass there. That's all that you have. And that's what they had as a result of the RAT. It deploys automatically, by the way, when you lose essential bus, and it pops out for you and provides enough electrical power to run those basic instruments, and then enough hydraulic power to manage to maintain control of the airplane. I left the APU in there to see who would bite on that. If you're out of fuel, starting the APU would have been a wonderful alternative if you had fuel. But they didn't have it. And the 767, you can run both hydraulics and the full electrical equipment with the APU. It runs everything. And that's, of course, what they have to do is when you lose an engine out over the water, you can start the APU, and it's like having another engine, actually, except it's not giving you any thrust. Well, let's see. I think that's enough for the talk from that. But anyway, I thought you would be interested in covering the Gimli glider one more time. It was worth our time, and I find it interesting. And I know that Jack would have known the answer, since he actually was he's rated on the 7.6 as well there. Okay, mighty fine. Let's go ahead and start the 73 round. And let me see if Don is still there. It looks like he is on Echolink. So see if Don is available for the 73 round there, if you would, Bob. K4YDB, W5OG.
Wilco, K4YDB, and Don, you're up for the 73 round. K4YDB, back to net.
Okay, fine, Don, and yeah, Carolyn's heard that. She says hi to you. So she's right here in the coach with me there. All right, I didn't take a standby to see if we have any additional check-ins. I guess I should do that. I would be remiss in not inviting anybody else who would like to join us. Any others that are around that are listening that would like to join us for the 73 round for the Air Force's Flyers Club Net? Members or guests, call now, W5OG. All right, then I didn't hear anybody, so let's go ahead and continue. Joe, W5ABI, I think you said you might be there still. So if you're there, go ahead, Joe, you're up, W5OG. Well, I don't hear Joe. So let's go to Bob, K4YDB. 73 round, Bob, W5OG.
Okay, well, what was the final answer for the first one, Dale? Was it 55, 65, or something less?
No, it was actually 45 miles, Bob. That was, according to the AOPA article on it that I read, they determined that from the time that they lost the second engine, they really only had to glide 45 miles. That is not the record, by the way. And they've had airliners that have had similar problems where they lost all thrust and had to glide, and they've glided for over 100 miles in some cases. So they have the ability, as we've noted before, to glide for quite a long distance. But 45 was the actual answer, but I give credit for any of them, because who knows exactly what it was. they ended up having to slip the airplane, so that, then all bets are off. Go ahead, Bob, K4YDB, 73, W5OG.
Okay, Dale, very good. I enjoyed the question, bringing that back into sight. That was something else. Guess the pilots didn't fare too well after that. And, Charlie, you're looking great with the new shirt. Looks good here, Charlie. K4YDB.
Okay, Bob, you're light with me since I'm have the antenna the other direction. I can't hear you real well, and you're not coming in on the SDR that I'm listening to. But anyway, I got most of that, and mighty fine. 7-3 to you. We'll see you over on Echo Link after the 73 round here. Let's go to Carl, KF7GJO. You're up, Sparky, W5OG.
Okay, Dale. Hey, fantastic bet. Yeah, I would have made 65 miles in that airplane. The secret is airspeed. Push the nose over and dive it at VNE. I mean, you're going to come out of the sky, but you're going to cover the ground underneath you. Remember, if you want to stretch a glide, increase your speed. At least that's what works good in a light airplane. Aye. Hey, fantastic bet. We'll try this again tomorrow. W5OG is KF7G Dale.
Okay, Carl. Well, I can tell you a story. I may have even mentioned this before. I don't know, but I had a 757 trip. Of course, you know, if you're rated on the 75, you're also rated on the 76. The rating right is the same for both airplanes, and that's a great deal for a pilot because you get to fly more than one type of airplane, and even though they're very, very similar, the 76 is quite a bit bigger than the 75. 75 is like a little sports car. Much fun to fly, by the way. And one more clear morning, we had a layover in Reno, and the last stop was at Mather over in Sacramento. So you have to hop over the mountain and land at Reno, and of course, to get over those mountains, I think we had to go up to like 14,000 feet, something like that. And so as soon as they hand you over to approach control there for Reno, the guy says you're clear to land, and we were at 14,000 feet. So you pull everything back and drop everything and spiral down as quickly as you can. And I actually landed the airplane without touching the throttles anymore, and they had the auto throttles off, by the way. Now, you're never supposed to do that. You're supposed to, a stabilized approach is defined as, for UPS, you had to have the throttles up and on speed and on glide path at 500 feet, or you had to go around. But anyway, I had everything under control, and on that beautiful morning, and it was fun, and actually dead stick it. What's the two engines at idle? And rolled it right out on the runway. It was much fun to do that. And I told the co-pilot, I said, now you didn't really see that, and don't if you ever tell anybody that you saw me do that, I'll deny it. So of course I wouldn't, but I told him that anyway, because you're not supposed to do it that way. And the other comment that I'll make about that is that there's a reason for having those engines stabilized, because that's part of a stabilized approach. Let's see, there was something else I wanted to add. Now, I guess that's enough. Anyway, it was a beautiful day, and one of those experiences that are ingrained in your memory, I suppose. It was right there at Reno. Always a fun place to go into. Let's see. Let's go to next would be John, WA6LJS. You're up, John, W5OG.
Okay, real good, Dale. W5OG, WA6LJS. I'm using the Vox because till I figure out what's the matter with this push-to-talk switch. But it appears that Vox works fine, so it's nothing to do with the rig. It's the push-to-talk switch. And very interesting net this morning. Appreciate that. And I think you've set a record, Dale. You're the only one that got both answers correct. Most everybody got the rat.
but the glide ratio or glide distance, you're the only one that got that correct. So that's the first time in a long time that that everybody didn't get the correct answer. Anyway, good that, Dale. Back to you, and I'll be here to the bottom. The W5OG, WA6LJS.
Yeah. Fine, John. And I didn't mean to make it about me, but the airplane is one of my favorites, of course. And I love to talk about the 75 and 76. And now you couldn't do that because they record everything you do. Everything is sent directly to the company, so they know they know exactly whether you brought those engines up or not. So you'd want to make another loop around the pattern probably, or something to kill some more altitude. If because you need to bring the engines off of idle and up to operating speed there. All right, let's see. Let's go to. Thanks for the help today, John. I hope you get that push-to-talk thing taken care of. I'm sure you will. Mike, WW5ENZ, thanks for doing the net logging again, Mike. W5OG, you're up.
Okay, W5OG, a great net today, and it's amazing how you can run a net and not even be in town. That's really good. Anyway, WW5ENZ, 73, everybody, and have a great day, and we'll catch you tomorrow on my net, WW5ENZ, clear. Back to net.
All right, Mike, mighty fine. And again, appreciate your help. John checked out. Let's go to Lee. N5 Bravo Echo, 7-3 round, Lee, W5OG.
W5OG, N5BE. Dale, I love the stories. So keep them up. I'm in awe of some of you guys. You've had amazing careers, and I love hearing about it. So keep it up. I read this morning on AvWeek Online that FedEx has immediately grounded all those 757-200s. I think it's for fleet modernization, and the usage is way down because air cargoers took a dive. So it's probably a sad day. I think United still flies the long ones, and I think Delta does too. You know, the stretch 757s. Comment about fuel. You know, I was a crew chief for part of my career. I owned that aircraft. It was a matter of pride with me. I just let you guys borrow it for a couple hours. But whenever that thing had to be refueled, I was there. And I watched the meter. I watched the fuel going in. I did not trust any peel well person or any line boy, especially if we were TDY. And I watched everything happening. I made sure it was topped off. I had to I had to put all of that in the aircraft logbook, but I did not trust anybody to refuel an aircraft unless I was there. I missed some lunches because of that, but I had peace of mind. W5OG N5B 73, everybody.
Yeah, fine. Well, I'm having my problems with the push-to-talk here, and I'm using a foot switch. I sometimes push my foot down, and nothing happens, and I'm talking to myself. Quick comment about the fuel there. You know, that was a multiple errors there. One of them, of course, was that the fuel gauges were inoperative. Now, they're on very clearly on the minimum equipment list now. That would never happen. You don't fly an airplane without having a backup of knowing what the fuel quantity is. And one of the pilot's the responsibilities, of course, is to look at your fuel flow and compare it to the amount of fuel that you have left, and look at the time. So you're kind of always doing that mental calculation to make sure you've got plenty of fuel. And you learn that at a very early part of your career. Well, they didn't have their fuel quantity instrumentation. They had a problem with one of the control boards, and they had cleared that airplane to fly without those fuel quantity gauges. Unbelievable. And then, of course, they screwed up the calculations between pounds and kilograms, which is easy to do, and but it's something that they do all the time, so it should never have happened. It was a combination of errors, which in most cases leads to some kind of a catastrophe. But they would now that MEL right after this incident, it was completely revised, and they would never have cleared that airplane for flight without the fuel quantity gauges. All right, enough of that. Let's see. Next would be Willie, KJ5BWB, 7-3 round. Willie, go ahead, W5OG.
W5OG in the group from KJ5BWB. Well, it's like I say, sailplanes were my first love, and I crashed a lot of times, with the wheel down, but never because I ran out of fuel. So I guess that's my peace of mind. But good question. Enjoyed this one, and 7-3s, everyone. We'll catch you later. Happy to be on the net. Back to net control. W5OG, KJ5BWB.
Okay, Willie, mighty fine. Let's go to Jim, W6WAY. Jim, I know that in the DC-8 you had to do 2-engine landings to get your rating on that airplane. Go ahead, Jim, you're up. W6WAY, W5OG, 7-3 round. All right, Jim, mighty fine. 7-3, always a pleasure to have you join us. Charlie, K4YDB, let me get my volume turned down. You're up for the 7-3 round, Charlie, W5OG.
W5OG, K4YDB. Well, good net today, Dale. I certainly did enjoy it. I enjoyed the question. I kind of felt like I knew a little bit about that thing because I saw that thing on there like twice. There's another one out there, and I'm waiting for it to pop back up. It's a pretty good one too. It's about a 135 tanker. But anyway, thanks again for the shirt there, Bob. It's kind of fun. I guess I'll just wear it on Monday with Lundy then. Let's go 73s, everybody. K4YDB back to net.
All right, Charlie. Thanks, as always, for the live stream. Really adds a lot to our net. All right, James, KG5PTE, 7-3 round. James, where's Uncle Cliff today? W5OG.
Well, W5OG in the group, KG5PT. Well, I guess I can go ahead and tell you. Uncle Cliff had another mechanical breakdown last night coming south out of Fort Worth or Dallas. I guess his air compressor blew up or something happened to the air compressor, so he lost air, and I think he's having to get it towed to a shop or somewhere close to his yard or somewhere maybe to get it fixed. So he's working on the truck again. I don't think it's nothing really, really big, but we hope not. But anyway, thanks for running the net, Dale, and good question on that 767. And I'm quite sure you had to do some flight simulators and emergency, using the emergency checklist. And I agree with Lee, N5BE on refueling an aircraft. I refueled many B-52s in my years at Barksdale, and you had to make darn sure that you were watching the control panel, the tanks, especially the center line and the center tanks, and making sure you got your fuel loads right according to the plan to load the fuel. So I'm sure, I don't know, Dale, you might comment on that 767 when ground crews are refueling it. Do you have somebody on the ground and you have a fire guard, and then you also have somebody in the cockpit running the management switches? The B-52 did, I know that, but I don't know how the 767 would do that. But Man, I wish I kind of went into aircraft maintenance after I got out of the Air Force, but I didn't. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, and I'll be on Echo Lake. W5OG, KG5PT, 73s.
Yeah, fine, James. No, it's completely different with the civilians, and that's it's always a mystery to me how we burned up so many airplanes in the Air Force and had all those precautions and checklists and everything, and the civilians don't do any of that. They just the guy pulls up, runs the pressure hose over there, and they start refueling. And I'm sure there's a mechanic around someplace, but I don't even know that they have to be around, to be honest. It's pretty lackadaisical in the civilian world, and yet they have very few problems with refueling. So go figure. All right, let's move along. Let's try to see if Tom is still there. K4YES. Did I miss you? Yeah, I guess I must have. Are you there, Tom? K4YES, 7-3 round, W5OG. I don't hear Tom. I hope he didn't. Did I skip over him? I don't think I did, but maybe I could have. All right, let's go to Brian, WB5DRI, 7-3 round, Brian, W5OG.
Okay, Dale, W5OG, WB5DRI. Well, good net, Dale. I enjoyed it. And everybody have a great day out there. 73s to all the flyers. And Dale, you and Carolyn have a wonderful trip up to Kansas City tomorrow there. We'll talk to you the next time. WB5DRI, back to net. Good day, everybody.
All right, Brian, mighty fine. Yeah, I enjoyed it as always, and we'll give you I'll be on the net, not tomorrow, but I'll be on Saturday, hopefully from, well, no, I'm going to be traveling both days, so I may not be on for a while. Maybe I can catch you on Echo Link there. All right, let's see if the visitor might still be with us. K8 Bravo Papa Zulu. Ross, are you able to hear us now? Go ahead, Ross, if you'd like to join us on the net. W5OG. Yeah, I don't hear Ross. I think I would hear him on the SDR. All right, let's see if one of the Alaska Pacific guys from the net coming up would like to join us this morning. KL7 Quebec Kilo. Ed, you're up if you're there. W5OG.
Yeah, good morning, KL7QK. I wanted to apologize. There were like 2 or 3 tune-ups, and I hope that wasn't our people. I just came on, so this is new net, but appreciate all you guys do. Back to you, Dale, KL7QK.
All right, Ed, mighty fine. Well, we try and be as good neighbors as possible, so we do appreciate your cooperation, and we'll get right out of here so that you'll have time to get everybody ready before your net starts here at the bottom of the hour. So anyway, that is the bottom of the list. Let me take one quick standby and see if we have any additional check-ins, and then we'll close the net and make way for the next net to start up. W5OG, any last takers for the Air Force's Flyers Club net? Members or guests, call now.
Whiskey, Delta 4, Bravo, WD4 in Smithfield, North Carolina.
Smithfield, North Carolina with a big signal. WD4, Mike Bravo, your name and QTH, over.
All right, the handle here is BD, that's Bravo Delta, my QTH is Smithfield, North Carolina. Just stumbled upon a net, been copying the mail. I kind of got a feeling what's going on, but I don't have any traffic. Just wanted to give you one for the net and one for the numbers. And by the way, U.S. Air Force 82 to 86, Roger.
All right, fine, BD. Well, thank you for your service. Yeah, you check out our website, airforcesflyersclub.org. And, of course, as a former Air Force, you would certainly be qualified. There is an online application if you'd like to join the group there. We're on every morning starting at 1500 Zulu, 14290 right here on 20 meters. And we'd be glad to have you come back and join us on the net anytime. You don't have to be a member to participate in the net. So Anything else for us this morning there, BD? Over.
No, but I really appreciate you being there, and I enjoyed my time when I was in the Air Force. I did only pulled 4 years, but that was 4 years that poured it all out. F-15 jet engine mechanic, 48th Fighter Interceptor Squadron, Langley Air Force Base, Virginia. We flew the A and B models that First Pack handed down to us, but we had the ability to break things and hurt people if necessary. So good thing we did not, because we were part of the nuclear deterrent force. So glad that's over with. Thank you so much. Here is Whiskey Delta 4, Mike Bravo, Smithfield, North Carolina. So long, my friend.
All right, BD. Well, so long to you, and again, thank you for your service and your 4 years in the Air Force there. Come back and join us. We are on every day. All right, well, that's the end of the net, and I'm going to go ahead and close things down and make way for the Alaska Pacific net to start up here on 292 in just a few minutes. This has been the Thursday edition of the Air Force's Flyers Club net, W5OG, your net moderator for the day, and it's been my pleasure to lead the group, and I do appreciate all the check-ins and all the great discussion this morning. This net is now closed and returning the frequency to normal amateur use. W5OG will go over to Echolink for those of you that would like to join us there for a few minutes there on Echolink. W5OG clear.